Hello everyone! Today we will be making bumblebees, and I'm very excited to share this pattern since someone requested a bumblebee in one of my shorts, and I thought, I could probably do a bumblebee. And so I made this one all in one night, and it was a little bit messy because of the color changes and stuff. So then I made a second, and this one's actually very realistic because bees do have a darker abdomen section, but this one with the darker yellow shows up really well on camera and also just looks kind of cool. So I'll be using these colors again today, but for the bee pattern you will need not catnip, but I will be adding catnip just because I have no other purpose for these bees and my cat likes to take them out of my bag. And then you'll need a yellow yarn, bright yellow or golden yellow. You'll need white and black. I have a huge skein of black. You can't really see it, but it's big. I have a lot of black. And then you'll need some stuffing. I also have this is not a stitch marker, a crochet hook, my typical 3.5 millimeter. You could use a 4 millimeter. It'll just turn out a little bit bigger. And then I have 2 stitch markers. You only really need one, but there's part of the pattern I wanted to show you with 2 stitch markers. And then I have a yarn needle, and it's not super sharp, and it's a little bent on the end, which makes it easier to sew on the wings and the antenna, but you can use a regular needle and you can use a crochet hook if you don't have a needle. Also, before I get going, I wanted to say thank you so much for 65 subscribers on YouTube. I was not expecting to get many subscribers at all on YouTube, maybe 1 or 2, but like I was gonna have to make a lot of videos before I got many views or subscribers, and I guess by big standards I'm not getting a lot, but I'm so happy that people are watching my videos and hopefully learning some new crochet patterns. So if you like this video, if you like my others, please like it, please comment, share it with your friends, and I would love to see anything you make. So tag me on Instagram at Goldberry's Gardens. Let's set my completed bees to the side to open up some workspace, and you're going to start with your black yarn. I know that black yarn does not show up very well on camera, so I will just speed through doing this and the pattern will be on the screen. For the last stitch, you're going to do the color change, and it's a little bit hard to see in the black, but it'll get more clear when I bring in the yellow. You're going to insert your hook into the last 2 stitches, front loop only, for the decrease, and then you'll yarn over in black and pull through, but then instead of yarning over in black again and pulling through, you're going to pick up the yellow and leave a fairly long tail so that it doesn't get pulled through accidentally. You're just going to put that on your hook, pull through, and then you can pull on the black tail to kind of tighten it up, and then you'll have that color change. And after you make a couple stitches, this won't pull out, so your next stitch is going to be an increase, front loop only, insert the hook in just the front loop and make 2 single crochet into there. Then if you're using a stitch marker, I'd go back and add the stitch marker back in, because now the yellow is locked in place. And then you're going to do the front loop increases all the way around. For this next row, you're going to do single crochet increase 6 times to bring your stitch count up to 18 stitches. We're going to have one more row of increases, so you'll do single crochet increase single crochet 6 times to bring your stitch total up to 24 stitches, and then I would recommend stuffing the head because it'll just get a little bit more complicated after here when you have to do the color changes in the black for the back. the next few rows, you're going to be doing color changes back and forth between the yellow and the black, so you can make the black spot under the wings. You'll do your color change exactly the same as you did before. Row 12 starts with 4 single crochet, 2, and then on the 4th stitch you're going to pull up a loop of the yellow, and then you can pull up a loop of the black, and make sure there's a little bit of slack, because if it's tight you'll start to get some warping and then the bee will just be like wrinkled in places. So pull it loosely, and then you're going to pull through and tighten the yellow, and then you're going to do 1 whole stitch in black, and then start your next stitch in black, and then switch back to the yellow. And this one you can pull pretty tight because it's not a big spot, so it won't really fold. And then you'll do yellow for the rest of the round, and you'll just follow the pattern for the color changes, but that's how you change color for the spots on the back. Now is a good time to count your stitches again, because you should still have 24 even with all the color changes for the back of the bee. And you can also trim off the black. So trim it with a tail. It doesn't need to be super long, but that way you can just tuck that in and it'll get worked into there when you stuff it. The inside will look really messy, and that's fine too, because it's inside and you'll put some stuffing in and no one will ever know. For the next 2 rows, we're just going to do some decreases to get it back down to 12 stitches around. Now you will have the head and the thorax, I believe, of the bumblebee. Your next couple rows are increasing back up to 24 stitches, and where here we do the decreases over 2 rows, you're going to do 12 increases to get to 24 right away, and then just a row of 24 single crochet around. In this row, we are going to do some decreases to start tapering towards the stinger, but I'll also be doing a slip stitch chain 1 at the end of the row to avoid this lumpy bit. So with that, it sometimes trips people up, so I'll come back to it at the end when I get to the end of this row and show you exactly how to work it. Now we're at the end of this row, and you're going to do the final single crochet in the last stitch, so single crochet here, and then you're going to do a slip stitch. Here, I'll put in the stitch marker so you can see where the end of the row is, and you're going to do a slip stitch into the first stitch of the row. So just yarn over and then pull straight through without yarning over again. And then you're going to chain 1 and make it pretty small and tight, but then you're just going to work into that same stitch that you just used, and you're going to do 21 single crochet around and finish off the row that same way with a slip stitch chain 1. At the end of this row, where you've just done the slip stitch chain 1, you can pull out a short tail, and you're actually going to trim off the yellow. You don't have to trim off the yellow, you could keep it attached, but I just found it easier to show how the color change works if the yellow wasn't attached, so that we can now reattach the black. If I can find my end. There we go. And it's hard to see in black, but you're going to insert it into that first stitch and pull up a loop of the black, and then basically just do a slip stitch. So you're going to pull it right through and pull it tight, and then you'll work a single crochet still into that same first stitch, like that. And that single crochet will be the first one that you count in your next row. So for this row, it's just going to be 5 single crochet and decrease 3 times. Now we're at the end of the second row of black, and you'll make your final stitch, and then you'll slip stitch chain 1 into the first stitch of the row. I'll put my stitch marker back in here so you can kind of see where the row ended. And then you're just going to pull the tail through and trim it off again. And we're going to switch back to the yellow for 4 rows. Insert your hook and make a loop with the yellow yarn. Put your yarn on the hook and pull through. And then with the long end, you're just going to pull through again. So chains or slip stitches onto there, and then you'll make a single crochet into that same stitch, and then you'll continue working the rest of the row.